Good morning, I'm Geraldine Carswell and I work with Sweet Louise. We help New Zealand women and men lead more positive lives with secondary breast cancer. Auckland woman Louise Perkins was diagnosed with secondary breast cancer at the age 29. But this did not stop her living her life to the fullest, filling it with positive experiences and adopting strategies to manage her ongoing challenges. And this laid the foundation for Sweet Louise, a unique charitable trust with the primary purpose of improving the quality of life for men and women living with secondary breast cancer. Sweet Louise members receive a free annual allocation of vouchers, which can be redeemed for a wide range of services within the community. They're with commercial services that we have contracted, and it empowers women to be able to choose a service that they feel would help them at a time that is convenient with them. These services include home help, cleaning, baking, counselling, and exercise programs and therapies, things like reflexology, and the treats such as massage, facials, manicures, things to make them feel well, great experiences. Support coordinators, one of myself, assist with access to both Sweet Louise services and all the services that are available in the community. We work alongside and with all the current services that are available. And we have monthly support meetings and online forums, hopefully providing companionship and for sharing their experiences. So thank you very much. And membership, it's free to join, and you can either go online, it's quite an easy process because even I can do it as an oldie on a computer, or there's a registration booklet that you can send to Auckland and we can then load that on for you.
Are you based anywhere else apart from...
I cover personally the whole of the Regional Cancer Treatment Service area, Auckland area and Northland for 5 years have been currently up there, and the Wellington region, and we hope to expand to Waikato late 2012. Not as yet. We were, I was just asked what areas we cover in New Zealand. Christchurch, we were considering that, but with the current situation in Christchurch, it's all a bit sort of scattered down there really, so it's the infrastructure isn't probably the right timing at the moment.
So what do you do for Central Region?
For Central Region we have monthly member meetings. There's an online forum that women can share their experiences, and they have the allocation of vouchers. It's $500 a year that they can then, they have a service directory. There's vouchers and it comes with a directory that they can then go through and choose a service at a time when suits them. And that's the range of, as I said, from baking is very popular. We have a medical advisory board that does ensure that any of the services we offer aren't going to do any harm. And the baking they didn't think was particularly popular, but it's proved to be one of the most popular services.
So what's your stats regarding Pacific women joining this sort of group?
I haven't got the stats with me, sorry, at the moment, but it's an area that we are trying to improve and work on. And I think they have more membership in Auckland, in the Northland areas, than down here.
Perhaps actually if I can just pick up on that question about stats as well, for the whole supportive care type part of the cancer pathway, statistics are really poorly either kept or they're with different organisations, often non-government organisations, and as part and parcel of rolling out the supportive care guidance over the next couple of years, we will be developing some indicators that sit around that, and definitely an ethnicity breakdown will be within that. So I'm hoping within a couple of years there'll be some more information that we can provide via that.
We are improving.
Okay, so the stall holders are going to be around as well, so if there's questions afterwards and obviously during lunch. Anita, can I get you to come up and talk about the Leukemia and Blood Foundation? I'll get it around the blood thing.
I know, I've just got my tongue around it myself. Hi everyone, I'm Anita. I work for the Leukemia and Blood Foundation as one of their support nurses. So just a quick overview of the foundation itself. It was launched in 1977. So it's undergone a few name changes and subtleties since then. But basically, in a nutshell, we provide education and support and awareness to anyone living with a blood cancer or indeed a non-malignant blood condition in New Zealand. So when blood cancers come to mind, leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and also I would emphasise that we do also provide support for the non-malignant blood conditions out there as well. I'm one of 5 regional support nurses in New Zealand. We've got 3 based up in Northland, Auckland region. I am based in the central region, based in Wellington, but I cover the RCTS and the Capital and Coast District Health Board. I think at last count I cover about 8 different DHBs, so it's quite a large geographical area. And I've got a colleague based in Christchurch who covers the entire South Island. In terms of an overview of what we would do as a foundation, patient support, which is where my role comes in, we are involved just the day-to-day contact, be it over the phone, text messaging, in the main treatment centres, Wellington and Palmerston North. I'm often involved in the bone marrow transplant unit, going up and physically seeing patients and their wider support networks, their friends and family. And it's often quite humbling. There's a lot of people out there who don't have those support networks that a lot of us are quite blessed to actually have. So there is a lot of need out there. We offer quite tangible and practical things such as temporary financial assistance. Sometimes that's in the form of a mobile phone top-up. We can get them connected to the internet on a lone laptop with a Vodem stick, which is a bit of a lifeline when you're essentially isolated for weeks, potentially months on end during your treatment. So those are very practical things. We can offer to a certain degree some assistance with petrol vouchers and grocery vouchers. A lot of support is focused on the families who have relocated. You've got the main treatment centres through the country and you've got the regional hubs in between. So people are travelling out of town perhaps 3 hours or so from home. So there's a lot of relocation and the stresses involved there. In terms of the wider community, we advocate awareness in terms of the World Lymphoma Awareness Day and the World Leukemia Day, which was recently publicised. So we align our sort of services with those dates just to promote awareness out in the community as well. Information and education, a lot of you may be familiar with some of our resources which Jo is holding up there. And those are aimed at patients and health professionals alike. There's a myriad of resources, particularly pertinent to the Pacific Island group would be our latest editions, which are some translated texts. They are generic booklets that offer some information about blood conditions and malignancies as a whole, and they are available in about 6 translated languages: Niuean, Tokoloan, Cook Islands Māori, Samoan, and we've also got Gujarati coming. Obviously it's not Pacific, but we also have Chinese texts there as well. So just to be aware that those are available and are constantly being revised as well. Information and education not only applies to the patients and their families, but also health professionals as well. We regularly are going out and educating them on updating information accordingly. Research, the foundation does support some research going on in the background for scientific and clinical investigations, and advocacy is another growing role of our organisation, where we represent the needs of patients and their families with organisations such as government and other agencies to act on behalf of them and potentially advocate for treatment in some instances. I think that's a broad overview. Have any of you got any questions? Oh, I must have done my job properly then. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita. You can see already how much the non-government organisations such as these provide support for cancer patients from real practical financial type supports, but also information support's a very big key of what they do. What have we got here? Pacific Heartbeat. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity just to share with you. Our good doctors have done it for us, emphasizing the importance of cessation tobacco within our population. We are the Pacific Heartbeat Tala Pacific with the Heart Foundation, and we are a national service, so we travel up and down the country. And it's just a privilege to be here to share with you what we have for our population. As you heard this morning, that is the main risk factor to the non-communicable diseases our people suffer and die from. And our stats are still very high. And that kind of frustrates funders, the Ministry of Health and everybody in tobacco control. More than 20 years now, we are sitting on 1 in 3 Pacific people that smoke. It's improving for Maori. They have the highest 1 in 2, but they are declining. But we seem to be sitting there for so many years. And the sad thing for us now is the Year 10 study, Pacific students were doing very well until just recently. They are now jerking up a little bit this way. So it's on the climb, and we really want to know why. As a foundation, we work right across the continuum from promotion to prevention and rehabilitation. But as a Pacific service, we provide advocacy, we provide health promotion, smoke-free promotion, and we provide cessation training programs throughout the country. And we are asked to work where Pacific people are, but we are moving more towards central region, mid-central, because our population is on the increase. And thank you for your wonderful website. It is about the best so far for this area. And we keep track of our whānau who migrate down this way, because there is more than 20,000 Samoans moving down this way. There's more than 10,000 Cook Islanders moving down this way. So it's on the increase. And so we provide Pacific perspective on how to support people in their quit attempts. And so we work primarily with the health sector. But the ministry now has been quite flexible in allowing us to work with Pacific communities. So we are doing a lot of work for church groups, for cultural groups. So wherever there is a need, they allow us to be a lot more flexible doing that. So we have been here 3 days doing work with the DHB, visit some groups down in Levin, and then, of course, attend this Fono. In this region, there's more than 2,000 Pacific smokers. We know that. But this is 2006. And so I suspect that it could be on the increase. But we work right across the board because there is not enough specific services around. But we work with mainstream services, Maori services, because more than 80% of our Pacific population access non-Pacific services. So the question that was raised this morning, is there any Pacific services around this part of the world? They access non-Pacific services. So we work with them because there is the whakama, there is the shame. So it works well for some. They don't come to us, but they go to people who don't really know them. And so we provide training wherever where there is opportunity. So we are opportunists in that sense. When there is a given opportunity, we come around and provide that. So we train people, providing them a cessation Pacific course that can help them to become quit card providers, to improve access for our people. Of course, we are now delivering a simpler program for healthcare workers and community because they don't have all the time in the world. And so the time factor has been taken into account so that we can deliver some simple messages. At least some people can do the asking and providing brief advice. It's better than nothing. And so we have been doing that with the DHB here, and it was well attended. And thank you, Julie, for your support in that. But yeah, we are open to support wherever we can, wherever the whānau is, so that we can help address our high prevalence over the last 20 odd years. Yeah. So that's a quick spiel of what we do. So we travel up and down the country. Next week we'll be in Wanganui. The following week we'll be in Nelson, dealing with seasonal workers from the island who has a very high smoking rate, who's supposed to be picking fruits and veggies, but they could be spending time smoking away. So the employers are not very happy. So we work with tertiary institutions, workplaces, church groups, community groups, and of course the health sector. So we work across everywhere we can. Any questions? We will be working with the Frangipani Pacific group that we've been working with over the last few months, and we are coming across there Monday the 5th and see if we can get a Talanoa going with our community group over there.
Can I ask why we're being invaded by Pacific Islanders down here?
I have no clue. It can't be immigration, no. I have no idea. But there is a trend that people are moving away from the main centers. And I guess it's work, but I don't have the evidence to back up the people's movement to region.
My second question is, what do you think the barrier is to engaging with Pacific Islanders and smoking?
One of the big barrier is the need for a paradigm shift in Pacific thinking. Tobacco smoking is still like, it's a free choice. And most of the time it is not associated with ill health until the doctor says so. Because the migration, I was talking about this not long ago, the migration back and forth from the islands slowed down the education process with our population. So you improve your level of knowledge here, and then the family arrive from the islands, they destroy all your smoke-free endeavors. But it is not part of their well-being overall view of health until there is an event in their lives. That's when they park to listen. But otherwise, the good times is taking precedence over better health and well-being. So there's a number of factors, but we are looking for a paradigm shift that will make them. Let me just illustrate this. There were surveys carried out with some Pacific community groups, and the question was asked to rate their values in order of importance. Personal health, which includes all that you talked about this morning, personal health was rated number 4 and number 5. And so you talk about tobacco within our family, if it is the 5th priority in their world, it's a long way to make it a number 1 priority. So those are some of the barriers to the thinking. So we strongly believe in education, which may take a while, but that shift needs to happen, and we see that to be one of the main barriers to supporting our whānau.
And thank you very much. And I think that really illustrates that, talking about people as a whole, actually, and going not just a cancer view, but, right across in what smoking does, actually, right across for all those long-term conditions. Well, perhaps while they're doing that, I can do Cancer Society. So the Cancer Society, when we talk about the central Cancer Network region, we've got 2 divisions of the Cancer Society in our region. So the Wellington division, which covers Wellington, Hutt and Wairarapa, and then we've got the Central Districts division, which is Taranaki, Whanganui, Mid-Central, Hawke's Bay and Tairāwhiti. So they're sort of set up in divisions like that. And the Cancer Society covers a number of programs. So they have a strong health promotion program, very much around, a focus of that is around SunSmart, and the Cancer Society is probably the main advocacy and education body for SunSmart. They also do work combined with other agencies around smoke-free, around healthy eating, around exercise, those sorts of other activities, which, as I say, are often combined with other organisations. Same with promoting around health promotion around the screening programs. Another major part of their work is around the supportive care services that they have, and this is very much around supporting patients that are on that cancer pathway and making sure that they have access to information at appropriate times, that they have access to potentially funding if that's required. They have a large base of volunteer drivers, so just about anywhere where someone is, there's volunteer drivers that can take them to and from appointments. Often that's because we do need to, patients do need to move for their treatment very often. For example, Whanganui's got a large base of volunteer drivers which bring patients across for radiation oncology on a daily basis. So because some of those cancer services that Simon was talking about this morning, for example, if you're having a course of radiotherapy, that could be anything from 1 day treatment to 1 week of treatment to 6 to 7 weeks of treatment every weekday. So, it's a big commitment for people themselves, but also their families to bring them as well. So volunteer drivers is a big component of their services. Information support. This is has only just been released by the Cancer Society, which is a breast cancer, a guide for women with early breast cancer. And I think that this is their first major Pacific collaborative effort around a booklet specifically around with Pacific communities. So they've got that one. There's a questions you may wish to ask, and so this one's in Samoan. It looks like there's Tongan and Cook Islands Māori for that as well, Nuaean. So it looks like the 4 languages there. Questions you may wish to ask, and this is a good booklet around, there's a lot of information, or when people go into different appointments with different clinicians, they might be with their oncologist or with their surgeons. It's about just giving them more of an idea about what might be happening for them within those appointments and the sorts of things that they may wish to find out. There's information there about the Manawatu centres, but there's Cancer Society centres in each of our areas, and another big part of what they do is around advocacy. So they're very strong advocates at local levels as well as at government levels. There's now a collection of cancer NGOs which are called CanGo, which is 7 NGOs, which include the Cancer Society, Hospice New Zealand, Blood and Leukemia Foundation, Canteen Child Cancer, Prostate Cancer Foundation, Breast Cancer Foundation, or BCAC. So there's a number of all of those cancer NGOs that come together, and collectively they're starting to get a really, really strong voice nationally. If you're in the Palmerston North area, there's Addis House is it's a lovely facility. It's very welcoming, and for those of you that are coming on the tour this afternoon, you'll see through the facility. But there's opportunities there to host different meetings, and they're very, very open to supporting that. Some of the other resources that we've got on the table here. All of the regional cancer networks have put together web-based cancer services directories, and what these are is they sit on our website, which you'll see is on the bottom of our presentations and also on here, and it's where you can go into and actually go searching for organisations that do support cancer patients. So there's in our directory there's around about 2,600 listings within that of different services and organisations that you may want to access. So, for example, if you're a breast cancer patient, you can go in and select breast cancer, and it will come up with places where you can get prostheses, where it comes up where you can get wigs, WIN support, all of those different organisations. So that's worth having as both as health professionals, but also it's been put in place from a consumer perspective as well to be able to access. And what we've got to do more is better promote that service. There's also different organisations. This is a project that the network worked with the local cancer network in Wairarapa about, which is about, again, the cancer patient journey for Wairarapa patients, because just about all of their cancer services are delivered outside of their district. So they either have to go to Wellington or they come up here to Palmerston North. And so again, this is a pamphlet that's been done to talk to people more about what those what's involved in that cancer pathway, and also the different services that are there available to support them. Fundraising is another big part of the Cancer Society's, obviously what they do to be able to provide all of this this work that they do. And you've probably heard of Relay for Life. Is that something that's familiar with people? So they're an annual or semi-annual event that the districts hold, which is generally a 24-hour, basically it's a celebration actually, of cancer survivorship, and there's a lot of teams that go in there and they raise money for the local cancer societies. We've been running one here in Palmerston North. I think we're into the 11th year this year. So, what's that? Yep, so it's the first one that was set up in New Zealand. We're heading into the 11th year now, and the fundraising is just incredible that comes out of it. But in saying that too, the celebration that the community has and the commitment the community has to it as well is great. So that's a bit of a rundown of Cancer Society. I think I've covered most things. So Ian, can I invite you up for breast screen?
Kia ora. I was looking for Talasia because she was going to do the breast screening, but I'm very happy to do it for you. But I am very proud to say that we now have, for Breast Screen Coast to Coast, Talasia Brown, who is part Māori, part Samoan, working with us in the breast screening. Breast Screen Coast to Coast is one of the 8 lead providers, and we join with Breast Screen Central in covering the Central Cancer Network area. So basically we cover from Taranaki to Tairāwhiti, and they cover Wairarapa, Hutt and the Wellington, and together we're joining today in terms of this display. The breast screening program, as you heard before, is one of the national screening programs. It actually does meet a screening program criteria, and it was set up second. The first one was a cervical screening, but the breast screening was set up in 1998, and the age group now is for women 45 to 69 who are well. So we don't actually see women who present with signs and symptoms. We encourage them to see their doctor straight away, and they go to have a diagnostic pathway. The screening pathway, though, needs to be understood by women, because if they come in and have a mammogram, then the chances are if 200 women come for a mammogram, it's their first mammogram, then we will bring back 18 of those 200 women to have an assessment as part of the whole process, and of those 200 women, 2 will be found to have breast cancer. 2 years later and onwards, when they come back for rescreening, then for the 200 women, we will bring back 8, and 1 will be found to have breast cancer. And breast cancer is not like cervical, which is a cancer where we're trying to, a screening program, we're trying to prevent cancers. It is actually, we haven't got that advantage. We're looking for early cancers, and that's the reason for really encouraging women to come back. So just as important for us to get women into the program is that once they're in it, they keep on coming in. And this program is actually quite a benefit for primary healthcare people, because they don't have to worry about calling them back. The program does that. So unlike cervical, where you all have to go out and chase the people, unless someone moves, we will know about it and we'll get them back. The program has worked very closely with Anne Ellen Matoa since the beginning, and we have an English program out there for Pacific women specifically. There are some specific different ones in different languages that are being produced at the moment, but the difficulty was that it didn't always suit from which island people came. So there are very basic things out there, and it's really important, I think, that the health providers that are working with the women know what the service is about. There is a lot of confusion out there, because often workers think it's the same as cervical, and it is quite different. It is important also that women know that there is a whole pathway, that they know that they need to know what is happening, so that they can make an informed decision to take part, and they're not just rounded up as numbers. Because if they have seen the equipment, if they know what's going to happen, they will feel much happier and they'll come back. And that's what we want them to do. One-off doesn't really help for this, because it's like having your blood pressure taken. You can just get the scheme for that time. What happens when someone comes in and it's their second or their third or fourth time is that the previous mammograms are looked at, and the radiologist who's looking at them under a microscope, well, not under a microscope, magnifying glass, can actually see very small changes of cells that wouldn't have signs and symptoms for a long time. And that's what the screening program is for. It is actually to find things long before they'd be evident. And then you're going to have your women with you to be the grandmothers and be round. And I know there's a lot of stories out there about breast cancer, and people are often quite worried about it. But this is the best we've got so far. It's not foolproof, because nothing in medicine is foolproof. But we find that if women come and they see the program, they walk around it and they understand it, and they know that they can have a bit in it, that they go away and say, that wasn't nearly as bad as we thought about it. And I hope that some of you will come and see our site here in Palmerston today and walk around, because you can see the machines and talk to the women that are there. It'll be quite fast, but if you don't get a chance, then go and look at Hutt Valley Health and see their program, or see a mobile when it's round and ask if you can go and see it, because they'll be pleased to tell you about it. There are a number of different brochures and things that are available. There is one that's the green one over there for women under 45. We don't screen under 45, because 75% of breast cancers actually occur in women 50 and older. 1% occur in men, so we also promote about being aware of breasts and knowing what to look for, because men often don't take any notice if they've got an itchy patch on one chest side, and that can be a sign that there might be something needing to be looked at. Breast cancer, though, can occur at any age, and it is important that you're aware that this is just one of the things that happens. We do know the two main things are being a woman and getting older, and high fat diets, and alcohol is now coming up as a bigger issue in terms of breast cancer. Alcohol, especially before the age of 25. So this is an ethical thing for health workers to talk about for youth. We have resources that is such as this exciting one, which is really good. This is the old one, which shows up easier. It's a bookmark, but it also has millimetres and inches on it. So often it just gives the message for health workers to hand over to remind women. It's got the phone number, which is the 0800 number. And if you're doing any handwork, patchwork or whatever, you've got your inches and your millimetres. So it's the bookmark and it works as well. And otherwise, basically, this is a program that you have to be in to win, and early detection is the best protection for it. Is there any questions anyone wants to ask? Yes. Yeah, we're very excited about the Pacific Women stats. Pacific Women have overtaken Māori, and in the area they're virtually coming up to the 70% is the aim. Obviously, we'd like it better, but that is the aim. This is right across New Zealand. It's coming up to that, and Alamashoa showed you some of that. But yes, we are coming up to that region. There are some areas that aren't quite as good, but they're coming up rapidly, and that is extremely good. I might add, there's been a big breast screening conference in Australia in the last couple of months, and they've been going for 20 years, and their overall screening level is only in the 50s. So New Zealanders need to be very excited about what we've done. Yes. So you need to keep it up with your family. Any other questions? Thanks, Jo.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you for covering a little bit off about cervical screening services as well. I'm just conscious that we haven't got Lizzie here. Now, Lizzie Kent, she is here at the conference, so if you do see Lizzie, that would be good actually, if that's right, Anne, because she'll do this more eloquently than I. But while Lizzie's coming, perhaps I can talk about a couple of things that we haven't got stall holders here. One is Canteen, which is courtesy of the Shaved Head today, which was a fundraiser for them on the weekend. So Canteen is an organisation which supports teenagers basically through the cancer pathway. And again, very similar to what you've heard around those support services, but very much pitched at a teenage level. So there's a lot of activity that they do, and teenagers, they're in that sort of different area where they've come up through a child cancer type pathway, so they've been in paediatrics and coming up through that, and then actually as they transition through, they might actually then transition through into an adult cancer services. So it's actually a really important part of the program to support teenagers with cancer, and also a big that's, if we're talking about areas of inequalities, there's a high area of inequalities with adolescent cancers as far as survival rates. So it's really important that we get a lot of clinical trials and a lot of those patients into clinical trials as well to meet that need. Now, Lizzie, can I invite you to come up and just talk about the psycho-oncology services? Use the mic, even though it doesn't work on here, it works into the camera.
Right. Hi everybody, and thanks for this opportunity just to tell you a little bit about the service. It's a psychology service for people with cancer, and it's for the people who have cancer but also Fono and family as well, and we work with children, young people, adolescents, and really encourage family involvement. And I think our team would acknowledge that we don't have great contacts within the Pacific community, and would really like to do that better. So be really interested in talking more with people. I've left some copies of my cards, and there's a brochure which we're redoing. So again, if people have suggestions about how we can make the brochure more Pacific friendly, would be really like to hear those ideas. And I suppose we're working with people with a range of human problems. When people are trying to adjust to something life changing. It might be something relatively straightforward, like they're having trouble sleeping. So I think often people are a bit wary of psychology because they think psychologists are a bit odd and they just wonder what we're going to be doing. But I guess a lot of it is around talking and strategies and skills and things. And just a small plug for our companion. There's a companion service based at the clinic at Massey for people with health conditions. So that's people with diabetes and heart problems, respiratory problems, and I think more recently kidney disease as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Lizzie. And certainly the people that work in the Regional Cancer Treatment Service can profess to the value that the psycho-oncology team provide with supporting patients along that pathway, and actually that how that rolls across to most of the patients that come through the Regional Cancer Treatment Service. Now, I know we've got to wind up, so you get to your next sessions. A couple of other ones that we've got here is we've got Beat Bowel Cancer, Aotearoa, which is a group that's recently been set up, which is basically a patient advocacy group. And again, they've got information resources around bowel cancer. And of course, this is going to have more significance as we move towards the formal piloting of the bowel cancer screening program and the potential rollout of that in the future years for that coming out. There's also some pamphlets there around palliative care services, and apologies, Simon, we didn't get a chance to get you to do a bit of a spiel on that, but Simon's works in palliative care, and if you've got any questions, particularly around sort of hospice services or palliative care services, but there's some good information here. This one's from the Hutt Valley DHB and a number of translations that they've got there. And then we've got the ALAC group as we go along there. So that's probably all the time that we've got time for, and we're going to move now into the next set of sessions. Next door here we've got the Health Service Co-Design, if you're going to be looking to go to that one. In the front there we have got the working with Pacific communities, and at the back here we've got the men's health focus. So if you can move yourselves to whichever particular areas you wish to. Thank you.